Because of our grant program, particularly in COPS, burn, others, they go directly to local law enforcement. Do you think that there should be mandatory training in the areas of ethnic and racial bias, as well as also on the use of force, and that there should be a national standard? In other words, in order to get the money, you have to take the training that behavior will not tatter or wear out or even break the trust that the community must feel.
Senator, I think as we administer our grant programs to our local law enforcement partners, all of those issues are on the table and are under consideration. Currently, I will say that our view is that we feel that the grant program is a very important tool in bringing offices into compliance with not only federal standards, but community standards that they are aware of also. So we would not use that as a barrier to the grant program, but rather as an incentive to work with us and gain training on use of force policies. We have grants that are specifically targeted towards that through the COPS office. Whether there's a collaborative reform effort or not, but through the COPS office, we provide specific training on best practices involving use of force. Not only do we provide the training, we also attempt to link local law enforcement with other local law enforcement offices that themselves have either received training from COPS.
But Madam Attorney General, we'll get lost into collaborative reform and all this, and I don't mean lost. First of all, we do know that Baltimore City, through its both mayor and police commissioner and the concurrence of other elected officials, have initiated a collaborative reform effort in Baltimore. That is a voluntary effort where police departments reach out to you, meaning the Attorney General and his or her offices, to evaluate the department on how to better improve police community relations, law enforcement. That is underway, but that's voluntary.
Yes.
That's voluntary. Then, of course, there's the pattern and practice investigation. We know we've asked for that. You'll make your determination whether later on whether you'll initiate it. But what about where they haven't asked for collaborative reform, but they have asked for money? Yeah. There's a lot of, let's get the money, you know, and we supported more cops on the beat. Mm-hmm. We supported the burn grant so that our law enforcement would have the tools that they needed, whether it's other technology or whatever. Then, but again, they took the money, but we see that there are other issues that community-based leaders, faith and grassroots and others, are saying the relationship is worn. And my question is, if you get the money, should there be training, whether it's latent bias, deliberate bias, and also the use of force?
Yes, Senator, and so I certainly agree with...
Do you think that, apart from whether they have a collaborative reform effort underway or not?
Yes, Senator, separate and apart from whether there's a collaborative reform effort, in a pure grant situation, we do seek to provide training. My only point was that, and I actually don't want to disagree with you on that because it is such an important point. My only point was we don't use that as a barrier to obtaining the grant, but rather as an incentive to work with us and obtain training from a variety of different sources. Some of that training will come as a result of the grants. Some of the training comes as a result of us connecting police departments with others.
I understand that, but the community feels they get a lot of money from the feds and we don't have the necessary standards. So I'd like to have an ongoing conversation with you about it.
And those issues are under consideration because, as you indicate, they're very, very important and essential.